And this is, you gotta be effing kidding. And today we're talking about Barbarian. So,
Barbarian.
not Dave the Barbarian.
No.
The 2022 movie. Uh, Jake and I saw it in theaters on. I guess we'll go right into that story. So Jake and I went to go see Pearl when it came out, and Barbarian had come out the same time, before, after. I don't remember.
It was close.
They were like a week apart, 2 weeks apart. So anyway,
and we knew we wanted to see them both,
right?
Regardless.
So if I remember correctly, we were gonna watch Pearl, and then we were gonna watch Barbarian, the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to see Pearl. We go to the theater, and the guy gives us our tickets, and he goes, "All right, go to the theater too." And we're like, "All right, cool, theater too." And we didn't look at the tickets or anything, so we go over to the theater, and we go in there, and it's like taking forever. Credits and not credits, but trailers.
Yeah.
A bunch of trailers over and over, and then eventually, the movie starts, and it was like, this doesn't look like Pearl. I didn't watch any kind of trailers or anything for Barbarian. I went in completely blind.
Same.
I knew Justin Long was in it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I got that spoiled for me.
So spoilers for if you're like me and didn't know Justin Long is in this. Justin Long is. Or maybe I can put a disclaimer somewhere and be like, do not listen if you're a fan of Justin Long. Because it is a good spoiler.
Yeah.
Or it was for me, at least.
So I heard about this movie. Someone's like, have you seen Barbarian yet? Or heard about it or whatever? I don't remember exactly how it happened, but they were like, it's a horror. They were like, have you seen it? There's this movie called Barbarian. And I was like, don't tell me anything about it. It's a horror movie, and is it did you like it? And that's it. That's all I want to know. Did you like it? And they're like, yeah, I liked it. And I was like, cool. That's it. No more. So, I stopped them there, and they. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna see Barbarian. And I saw the poster for it, and the poster that I saw was just black background, red lettering, Barbarian. That's it. That's all I had. And I knew Justin Long was in it. I was like, what's Justin Long gonna do in a Barbarian movie? And I'm just assuming it's not Conan the Barbarian, but something brutal, something Viking, something like that, some kind of, he could, Justin Long can be in anything, you never know.
Such a good actor.
So I think I was scrolling through YouTube or something, and Jimmy Fallon or something was on, and he was getting interviewed about it, Justin Long talking about Barbarian. I was like, fuck. Because I didn't want to know anything, and that's how I figured out Justin Long was in it. And so me and Jake go to the theater. Guy tells us to go to theater 2, so we go to theater 2, and we're watching to theater to see Pearl. And so we're watching, and all the trailers go by, and the movie is supposed to be 7:30, and it was 8 o'clock, 8:10 when the movie started, and we were just like, that's a long time. Usually credits take a long time, but not
yeah.
And so it starts, and it comes up, and it's raining on this house, and this house could be an old house, and then this new Jeep pulls up.
Yeah, because it was this. It's a yellow house, if I remember.
Yeah, it's a yellow house,
and it just kind of has that okay, because we knew Pearl was gonna bring us back somewhat.
Yeah.
Just from the cover alone.
We didn't watch any trailers for Pearl or anything either.
But we saw X, and we saw the ending.
Yeah, we saw the end credits on X, and it had clips of Pearl, and Pearl is in X as an old woman, and then and the trailers Pearl, or the end credit scene thing, Pearl was young, so we knew that. We knew it was gonna be the 50s, or I think it's 1918 or something.
Yeah.
And
it'll be good.
Yeah. So yeah, it was 1918 or something like that. And it's raining, and there's a yellow house, and I'm cool, it could start like this, movies start anyway. So new Jeep pulls up, and I was like, oh, that's weird, and like there's supposed to be Maxine coming out, which I think takes place in like the late '80s, early '90s, something like
Yeah.
that. So I was like, is this like a thing for Maxine or something? Like we're getting this, and then we're gonna go back. And so we're watching, and then like it goes, and the Jeep pulls up, and I'm like, this is like a 2000s, like 2005 to like current
Yeah.
Jeep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I already like this better than X. Like, if this is like one of those like Drew Barrymore at the beginning of Scream, that's what I thought they were going to do.
Okay, yeah.
I thought they were like building some sort of small thing that would get into later.
So it pulls into the Jeep, and we see Tess, and I was like, okay, like this is not Mia Goth. Like, you know, I don't know what's going on. And so, like, she gets out of the Jeep, goes to the house, and I was like, I think we're in the wrong theater, Jake. And so I, like, she's at the front porch, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go run to the next theater and see if Pearl's playing in there. And, like, seeing if it's, like, opening credits, which, like, it'd been, like, 30 minutes longer than it was supposed to be. So I've run down there, and I go to the next theater, and I think Pearl's dancing with the Scarecrow. If you've seen Pearl, she dances with the Scarecrow. And like I saw it for like a split second, I was gone because I don't like spoilers. And I come back in there, and Jake's like,
I like spoilers.
Jake's like, should we go in there? Like that's the movie we wanted to watch. And I was like, no, like I don't know how far it's into it. Like I don't know if it's just past the credit. I don't know where it's at. And so we stayed and we watched Barbarian. So,
but what I remember was like, I think you got back, and then like the credits, it shows Barbarian, and we both look at each other and we're like, oh, well, that was kind of cool because we we were both surprised,
completely blind. Like I knew Justin Long was in Barbarian just because that interview. Like I didn't know any other actors in the movie. So,
and then Pennywise showed.
right. So yeah, we like I get back and I'm talking to Jake, and theater's empty, wasn't it? Was it just us? I was so entranced in the movie after a while, I forget if anybody was there, but I think it was just us. And like and I'm talking to Jake, and then it's like boom, Barbarian, you know, and I was like, well, we're supposed to see Barbarian anyway, and this is not what I expected.
Like, well, and I was like, this is an enjoyable movie experience. We should just experience it.
I think it was already like tense, like just her going up to the house and then everything happening with not having the key there, and like not being able to get a hold of because she's at an Air BnB.
Yeah, and I've been telling everybody, like when they ask about this movie or something, I was like, literally, this is the best movie experience I've had in 10 years, and it could be because of how it was made, how it was written, just how it's different from others, but also the experience we had as far as like going in blind.
When I go to movies, unless I'm not sure like what it like, you know, a movie comes out and I don't know what it is, you know, like I try not to watch any trailers. I try to just go in as blind as possible. And then sometimes like they're like, there's this movie called whatever, and I'm just like, I need more details. Like I don't, you know, the new Dracula movie. Like I had the last trip of the demeanor or something like that, whatever that one's called. Like I had to watch a trailer for that, and I didn't even go see it, but I still need to watch it. But
Dracula Untold.
No. Like the one that was in theaters. Like I think we saw the trailer when we saw Evil Dead Rise, when it has Smashing Pumpkins.
I don't remember that.
A vampire.
I wasn't there though.
Oh, okay. So there's this new vampire movie, and it's Dracula on the boat.
You already got me sold. I don't.
yeah. But vampire movies and Dracula movies, like you never know what you're gonna get, and so like I was just like that could be cool, but I had to watch the trailer for it. But usually I don't watch trailers if it's something I'm interested in. Barbarian was one of those things, and like when Evil Dead Rise came out, like. I didn't watch any trailer. We went to the theaters, and I would not look at the screen, and Jake would make fun of me.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know what I'm getting into mostly when I watch an Evil Dead movie, but I wanted to, you know, take everything that it gave me, as soon as I saw it. I didn't want to see, you know, whatever happens in the trailer, and then see it in the movie. Like, I wanted to see everything fresh. And that's what I did with that. But so we go in the Barbarian, like the most blind I think either of us ever went to a movie. Because like, and then like, but on top of the not knowing anything about the movie is like we weren't going to see Barbarian, we
No.
were going to see Pearl, and so it was like complete system shock.
I was like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, yeah,
That was a real.
yeah.
You got me on that one,
Right.
and it's like we did it to ourselves.
Well, it was the guy. It was the guy at the front. He just told us the wrong
He
theater.
did it.
Yeah,
Maybe he's like,
he knew.
Okay, maybe he was like, I want them to have a good time. Like the guy in Last Action Hero, he gave us a golden ticket.
I was thinking he was like a fairy godmother. He just
Yeah,
had, like,
kinda
tiny
like that.
wings.
Well, he gives us the golden ticket. We're in the movie with Arnold.
Right, right. The monster comes out and kills us. But
10 out of 10 would recommend.
just dead bodies. 10 out of 10. So she goes to get in the house, knocks on the door. Door opens. It's Bill Skarsgård, and like Pennywise. Everyone knows.
Yeah, that's what I first said. I was like, Pennywise?
Yeah, yeah. And so like there's some kind of mix up, and they are at the same Air BnB, and like you're watching this and you're like, is it a mix up? Like I've seen these movies where like you get to a place and they whoops, I'm like, we double booked or what,
Oh.
you're watching like Hostel or something like that, where like there's an accident, or so you're watching her and him interact. Keith, I think.
Yeah.
And
it is Keith.
so you're watching them interact with each other, and like he's like, they get all the information. They're both booked there, like according to everything here. But you're still suspicious, like especially if you're into horror movies and you've seen these scenarios, and you're from Tessa's perspective, so like you're on guard anyway. So so like every time something happens, like I'm like, okay, he like someone else is gonna be there to grab her or whatever, and like so he lets her in because it's raining and everything. She can't find a hotel, and like he's like, go like get cleaned up and everything. She goes and like takes a shower and stuff, and she asked if he can show her all his information, the thing, and like
To almost prove it to her.
right, and like it keeps popping up like and not like it's traditional like horror movie, like you're thinking like she comes out of the shower and she walks in the living room, he's not there, he's in there's a room over where he's getting his stuff to show her, like his phone, and like and so he like pops up and she gets scared by him, and like he goes to give her phone. In my brain I'm just like, he gives her like a little paper boat because he's
Oh yeah,
Pennywise.
yeah.
Like he does it, but
Yeah.
like wait, my head's just like constantly pulling Pennywise out.
Well, and you're always thinking, you're just like,
But I think it's set up. I think it's set up for you to be afraid of him because he is Pennywise. Like I think they chose Bill Skarsgård on purpose.
yeah, because they wanted that thriller type aspect. And I actually read on IMDb, the director of this movie was reading some sort of he's reading a book. He was reading a book. Yeah, he was reading this book that talked about situations where women could be in peril, but they see all these red flags, and like other people see them, but they don't. But they're obvious red flags. But then again, I can't remember exactly what it was he was reading, but I think what he kind of took into is like, yeah, there's quite a bit of red flags, but the guy backs every red flag up. Like he backs it up with like,
I think
which makes you even more like, oh, he may be like a mastermind.
And that's what it is. Like he is doing all the things that you're supposed to do to be like, I'm not creepy. I'm not creepy.
Yeah.
Like because the scenario is just weird. Just
Oh, we're double booked.
yeah,
Yeah.
weird. And so like they they set it up, I think, with Bill Skarsgård on purpose, and like to make you uneasy because if you're a horror fan, you know that he played Pennywise. Like, and doesn't mean he's gonna be the killer every time, but you're on edge already. You're expecting him to be. So that's one element, and then so he read that book and that part of that book, and I saw that he wrote like a script where there's two people interacting at an Airbnb, and like the guy just was like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag,
Yeah.
until like it was like you couldn't be denied anymore, something like that.
And fun fact, not really a spoiler, but kind of. I read that Airbnb, he chose that because that's where you start in the movie, is the Airbnb. But he named it Barbarian because if you take Airbnb and add like another R, it spells Barbarian. If you take the letters.
I saw that. I saw an interview where he said that wasn't the case.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Collider. It's on YouTube.
God.
Yeah. And he
Okay.
said he's gotten all these things of like, why is it called Barbarian? He's got like all these things. He's like, it's not that smart. Like that. Those things are interesting. Like the what was it?
Well, IMDb, you need more fact checks. You need more fact checks.
But also in this interview he could just be like no, like, and just he could just be lying. Who knows?
And just to make it to where like people keep
Right.
saying stuff. No, we named it Barbarian because of this.
Right, but so like, because it's on Barbary Street, and like
That's right.
and then the
year.
number on the house is 1-2, which is like apparently the same year that the barbarians like invaded Rome.
Yeah.
So like, there's a couple things, and people are pointing them out.
Which brings up that meme of every guy is thinking about the Roman Empire.
How often are you thinking about the Roman Empire? So stupid.
But it's true in this sense.
Right.
If that is in fact.
Some guy saw the numbers on the house and was thinking about the Roman Empire.
Oh god.
I think my mom's calling you.
Oh. Okay.
So let's see, where were we at? Yeah, so there's the whole like different names for Barbarian, and like it could be anything. There's so many things that you could say make like, who's the Barbarian? Why is it called Barbarian? And like, you know, you got the street name, you got the people. It could be anything. But okay, so Tess and Keith are like interacting, and they start getting along because she's there for a job interview for a video discographer.
She's
like a documentarian.
Yeah.
And and he is aware of that person's work, and he's part of like the foundation of something she's trying to learn
I think
about.
it's like the music.
Yeah. Well, that was the last
movement
thing, and she's working on something else.
Okay.
So they hit it off, and they start being comfortable around each other, and like I think they start drinking the wine that's there and stuff. And so when at one point she like comes out, and maybe this is when she gets out of the shower, but he's sitting at the table, and like the camera pans over while she's walking, and that's very like horror movie.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, I have this thing for you. He doesn't say
there's
that, but like that's what you expect.
Well, like he brewed her some tea and stuff.
And the lights above him, like
Yeah. And she's like, you know, I'm not gonna drink that tea. Like, and she kept denying it, and like the guy just made tea.
Yeah.
But we don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that. And he's just like, I understand why he didn't drink the tea, but then he has this wine. And he's like, I have this wine, and I didn't open it.
And now you're like,
yeah.
Oh.
And he's like rambling, but he keeps like, you need a drink? You want a drink? Drink this, that? Can I get you this? Can I get you that? And you're just like, okay, why does he keep asking her?
Yeah.
Why? Like, you know, and you wait, you know, for him to just like put something in her drink or something.
In this second watch, how I know that it pans out, the more I'm like, oh, maybe he's just doesn't know how to act in front of a woman that's beautiful.
It's the middle of the night too.
Yeah,
like she woke him up.
Yeah, he's acting like he's just tired or whatever.
But yeah, and it could be anything. He could just be waiting for her. But like they get comfortable and they drink the wine, and then like he helps her like so they're staying up because they have to wash the sheets because she has a thing about sheets. So he helps her like get the bed stuff on. She goes to sleep. He goes to sleep, and then it cuts to her asleep, and you hear the door open, and you hear like footsteps, if I remember correctly, and she wakes up and she goes in there and he's like having night terrors and he's like whimpering.
Which is even scarier because he's like, ah,
yeah,
or whatever.
and he's like, help me. And like real quiet, like, and he's like, yeah. And so she like wakes him up and scares the crap out of him. He's like, you scared the shit out of me.
I have night terrors, and I can attest. I haven't had one in a long time, but I can attest you never wake a person up with night terrors.
I don't know if I just would have closed the door. I don't know what I would
like because night terrors. I could be wrong, but because I have both, I did night terrors, and also I had I would sleepwalk, and you're not supposed to wake up a sleepwalker either.
I used to sleepwalk. I've never had night terrors that I'm aware of.
And but I've been woken up on both, and it just
did you fight your dad?
Oh yeah, my dad shook me because he didn't start shaking me. I went into the living room and I started throwing hands with my dad. And then he grabs my arms and he's shaking me. And I wake up just like mid-fight with my dad. And he's yelling in my face and I'm yelling because I'm scared. But he's like, it's okay. And gave me a hug.
Before she wakes him up, when she walks from the room to the couch where he's at, there's a hallway behind him. And like, so she's walking across like here, right? And the hallway goes back here. So she's walking and there's a door back here. And as she walks past it, it closes. Mm-hmm. So kind of in frame just like that.
Yeah.
And you see that and also puts you on an alert. You're just like, does this guy have another guy in here? Like, what's going on? And like, it draws you in. You just want to know what's going on, especially if you don't know what's going on, like me and Jake had no idea. And I watched the trailers yesterday actually.
Okay.
And like they don't say there's a lot happening in those trailers, but like nothing doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, I heard that there was one. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard that and it could be wrong. IMDb, don't fail me on what I've read of yours. But IMDb said something like they were trying to make it like Justin Long's new movie.
Oh, no, I watched it. It was funny. So Justin Long's driving his car, and he's like, from the producers of the Lego movie. And like, gosh, he's still driving, he's singing. And then it's like, the guys who brought you Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was good. We'll get into it when it get to his part.
Is it the same company that did that?
I'm assuming so.
Okay, because I did hear that apparently he pitched again. IMDb, your credibility is on the line here.
It's already in question.
But anyways, they said like they pitched it to A24,
A24, yeah,
and a few others, and they like turned them down.
Yeah,
and it was right up his alley.
Interview that I saw with him, he said it took him about a year and a half to get a yes, and then like, and the company that made it, and then like, he said there was no like studio interference, which is amazing for a movie like this time. And then I think
just let people create.
Yeah, yes and no, depends on the person. But like, if you hire someone that like, Kevin Smith made Clerks, and like he made Clerks. Like nobody was there to do it, and they found like it was found out, and then I'm pretty sure Kevin Smith like doesn't get critiqued, and he just makes what he wants. But
because he uses his own money for that.
But like
he sold his comic books to make Clerks.
Yeah. But when he made Cop Out, like that was like that was like the hardest thing, and like they were constantly on me about it, and like he's like I didn't get to make the movie I wanted. So like, but when they hire these people who made like that guy who did the superhero movie, what's it called? And the guy who made the new Fantastic Four movie that came out a couple years ago, like there was apparently a bunch of studio interference, and he had a movie before that was like. Found footage superhero movie. I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of a horror movie too. And that movie's really cool. And then Fantastic Four like flopped hard. Like there's some cool parts in Fantastic Four, but like they're all pulled from something else.
Yeah. And since it was already made, it's just like ugh.
But yeah, so he didn't have any studio interference, and this is the first movie he did, and I think it was Fox that he got to do it.
Okay.
It was Searchlight, which was Fox. And which brings me to another point. There's no physical release of this movie.
Yeah.
It's only on streaming.
That's right. Which is kind of irking me.
It made a ton of money in the theaters, but like now it's a Disney movie. It's not a Disney movie, but like it's owned by Disney, and they just aren't. They're just not putting a physical release out.
So go on Hulu and
watch it. But like, I want to go get it from the store. I collect movies. If you saw the old set, which we don't have a set right now.
No.
We're in between sets. So I have a ton of movies. So
yeah,
and I want to just take it, put it in there, and pop it out when I want to. I don't want to go to Hulu and like one day it's not on Hulu and I have to go to Peacock or whatever. I don't want to do that.
Internet news, nerd news, I saw online. Best Buy is not going to be doing any more DVDs or Blu-ray. They're getting rid of them.
Oh damn!
That's what I read, and I think I sent it to you because
maybe.
I'm like, it's starting.
I'm a big physical media. At least if you like movies, at least buy your favorite movie. Have a physical copy of your favorite movie.
Vinyl made a comeback, so they'll do something like. I was wondering, like, I was thinking the next step was going to be thumb drives. Mm-hmm. Like, they were just going to make these colorful thumb drives that's a movie.
Yeah.
And you put it into your computer, your TV, whatever. But, I don't know. If there's somebody that wants to create it, I said it first. Okay.
Keep the thumb drive thing. They saw it in this video. But
so don't steal from me.
I see that
give me a cut.
That people make it on Etsy and stuff. You can get a physical copy, but it's like ripped from Hulu or something. I don't know exactly how they did it, but that's the only way you can get a physical copy. And like that's not what I want. I want like the studio putting it out, and then like the deleted scenes.
Yeah, we want to help the studio. We want to help the actors. Like that's why we're on strike, is because everything's Everything's going to streaming.
But I want a commentary. I want all the things, like, because I put movies on the background and I just turn the commentary on. I'm cleaning the house and I'm just listening to commentary.
Yeah.
I listen to podcasts because I listen to people talk, and especially about movies, I just find it interesting. But so it sucks for me and a lot of people that it's not having a physical release. Like anything, like get a hold of Shout Factory or Criterion and get I don't think it's gonna be Criterion, but like maybe eventually. But like get that physical copy. I want it. Like I want the option, but nothing. So that sucks.
So where were we in the movie?
So the door closes. Tess wakes up, Keith, and she goes back to bed and wakes up the next day. She's late for her interview. She's got a job interview. She goes out. Keith is gone. He has a note. He's like, I left to leave the key in the box when you leave. And so, like, I'm still suspicious.
Yeah.
I'm still suspicious. And, in the door the night before. So she leaves, goes to the interview. And she's talking to the person interviewing her. She took a picture of Keith's license. But she found his wallet in the room before she went to go to sleep in there. And she, brought it back to him. But she took a picture of his license first. And she was, looking at it before the interview. So she has the interview. They leave. And she's talking to the woman who interviewed her. And she's like, oh, I'm staying on Barbary Street. Or Barbary. She says the location,
the part of town.
Yeah, and
she's like, "Oh, that's a terrible area."
She's like, "That's a bad area. You shouldn't be there." And she's like, "Oh, it's not that bad." And I'm concerned. Is it just this is a rough neighborhood, or is does she know people go missing.
Oh yeah.
Like, is there more to it that she's not saying? Like, and I don't think she's in on it or
Well,
anything.
I thought, and you sort of see, and you see later that all the houses are run down.
Yeah.
I think they actually shot in a different country too.
Yeah, the street and the interiors of the house, I think, were in starts with a B, but
Not
I can't
Bulgaria.
remember. It's maybe Bulgaria, but when she's going, well, this is later, so we'll get to it when we get there.
But the house that they're staying in is like the nicest one on the block.
Yeah. So yeah, when she first gets there, the key's not in it, she like is looking out from the porch, and she looks, and like there's a street light over here. Like if I'm looking forward at the street light over here, and it's lighting up where this car is, and you can see the back of the car, and then like it pans, and you can see the silhouettes of the house, but you can't see anything. And then when she leaves to go to her interview, she looks around, and it's all like boarded up, and like the next door house is like collapsed, and so it's this just like decrepit street besides that one house that they're staying in, and like street light when she gets there, and front porch of that house. And Keith says it when she gets there. She's like, I can sleep in my car. He's like, have you seen this neighborhood? Like, it's not safe. and that another suspect, like, you know. So it's so yeah, but when the woman says that, I'm just like, is there more that she knows than just like it's a shady neighborhood, you know, with crime or whatever? Nothing supernatural or you know, abductee or anything. So she's like, no, it's fine. I kind of have this roommate. And she's like, you have a roommate? And like she explained, and she's like, that's crazy. You shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's all right. So she goes back to the house. And when she gets to the house, she like, you see her getting stuff out of her car, and you see this person off in the distance running towards her. And he's just like, hey, little girl. And she like runs to the house, and like she gets the key out of the box, and like gets in the house, and he gets up to the door, and he goes, get up at the house. And like in these movies, like these harbingers, which this is what this character is, and they're usually some kind of crazy guy that no one listens to, and that's kind of why they're the harbinger. They're like, this thing, like, don't do it. And he doesn't say why to get out of the house.
He's just yelling at her.
Yeah, he just screams. So she calls the cops. Nobody's coming, because like she's like, I don't see him anymore. So she goes to, at one point she goes to the bathroom, no toilet paper, and that leads her to go like through the house looking for stuff. And then she opens the door of the basement, looks down the stairs, toilet paper. And so she goes down there and gets it. And while she's down there, the door that basement door like closes. And like, so it's doing this number, right? And she sees it, and she comes running upstairs. As soon as she gets there, it just clicks. It's locked. And so, you know, Keith isn't there. She's all by herself, and like she can't get out. And so she goes downstairs, and she finds this rope in the wall, and she like it's in the wall, like there's a hole in the wall, the rope's and so she pulls the rope, and it opens this secret door.
Yeah.
And there's like baskets and stuff in front of it. So, and it's just darkness in front of her in this dark room. And so she pulls, she can't get out. And this is a funny one. So she sees it, and she says nope. And apparently
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, like, he's friends with the director, whose name slips me.
Yeah, they said that Jordan Peele like kind of had his invisible hands with this
on IMDb. Yeah,
that he like, I guess at least had conversations with him, and you could kind of feel that. And since Nope came out around the same time,
so he apparently showed Jordan Peele Barbarian because he said that it's a Nope moment, and like it's a big moment, and she says nope, and he goes, is this gonna be like too close to something in your movie, like, and so he showed him the movie, and Jordan was just like, no, it's all good, like it's fine. And he's like, then I saw Nope, and like it happens just like in my movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, son of a bitch, it's just like what I was trying not to do.
But I like how they collaborate together, and they're just like, okay, like we're gonna try to build more
I think probably
content.
because like Jordan Peele has made a lot of good, like three, and that's the only ones he's made, good horror movies, and so like he saw Barbarian and was like, don't change a thing, like
Yeah.
don't like, and like this is me assuming
like he wants there to be a rise.
yeah, he wants there to be like, because like Nope and Get Out and this, and like we want good horror movies, we want like
pushing the envelope a
yeah,
little bit.
we don't want like we love schlock in bad movies, but we want good horror movies too, and like this is one of them. And so I think he showed him the movie, and then like Jordan Peele was like, yeah, just keep it, don't even worry about it, because it, and like how the director said, it's a Nope moment, and so like, you know, she sees this dark room that, you know, and says nope, like cool, like, you know, if you're gonna do horror movie, like, you know, if you're, you know, you find yourself in a basement and you find a secret room, you're probably gonna say no.
Well, and that could be a new tactic they use for this era of horror movies, of like nope, because like back
Zach Krieger, sorry,
Okay.
I had to look it up. Zach Krieger, from The Whitest Kids You Know, he's done some other stuff. I think he did Miss March, which is like a raunchy
That's
comedy
right.
from like 2010 maybe. And so he made this horror. This is a passion project, so that's why he shopped it around for as long as he did. So, I'm sorry, I interrupted you when I found his name.
Oh yeah, I was just saying like nope could be like a new trope that they use in this, like it could be like, you know, back in the day you had, you know, don't open the door, like or don't say I'll be back.
Right,
Like,
right. When I'll be back, like they'll just be like nope, and then
yeah, and then
so
now we have nope.
Forces beyond her control though, like the door's locked, and like she sees this mirror, and there's a lamp in the middle of it, and so she gets the mirror to make a light into the thing, and she's looking around the dark room. There's nothing in there, but at the very end of the hall, it's like a hallway. You know, you don't know until you see it, and there's like a little, you can see like a door hinge, or a doorknob, and so she has the light set up. She goes in there, and like opens the door, and there's a light switch right next to it. Turns it on, comes on, and it's just like this. It's like a little room, like a snuff film room. There's a dirty, nasty bed,
So
and there's
gross.
a camera sitting up on like a tripod, and then there's like a bucket, like a shit bucket. Like it's disgusting, and horrified. Like, and I'm waiting for Keith to just be like, you know, she like backs up, there he is, you know, or there's some guy and bag over head, she's in the room, you know, something like that. You know, like I said, like hostile. And so she comes out, like I think she hears Keith banging on the door, knocking on the door, because he can't get in, and because she has the keys still. Because when that guy ran up to her, she like had the keys open. She went in with the keys, like, and so there's a little window at the top of the basement, and it's like stuck. She couldn't get it open, and so he pushes on it. She pulls on it, opens. She gives him the keys, and still, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. You know, he got the keys, like she's done. You know, and then it cuts to him opening the basement door, and she comes out, and she starts telling him, she's like, I found a room down there with a bed and a camera and a bucket, and like we have to get out of here. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like what? And he's like, let me go see what it is. And she's like, no, no, no. And he's like, we have to go. We have to go. And he's like, no, you're being like, you know, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know if he says you're being crazy, but like, you know, he's like, I believe you, but like, I haven't seen it. I need to see it. She's like, no, we have to go. Which like, I think I would just leave.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I feel like they kind of made him do that because then you're like, oh, he might be like a part of it. Like,
Right.
let me go see.
Well, because when he goes downstairs and the door closes by itself, he's like, "Stay up here, so that if the door closes, you can open it for me." Like he's telling her to stay, and like when I've been in kind of scenarios where like something scary is happening, like I'm camping and there's noises or whatever, like people are always like, "Go check that out." Like, and I'm like, I don't really want to, but like no one else is going to, and you guys won't shut up until someone checks it out.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's nothing.
Well, and also the whole trope of we're white people, so of course we're gonna go check out the weird.
Right. And like I'm kind of a big dude, like so like it's like if anybody's gonna have him go check it out, it's probably gonna be me. But like, and I don't want to. Like I love horror movies. I know you shouldn't do that, but like usually like there's a tree hitting, and that happens in horror movies too. Like a tree's just hitting the window, and that's set up, and they stop the tree from hitting the window. They walk off, and Jason Voorhees is like waiting or something. He's off in the distance, like. So that's not this movie. Jason doesn't show up. So yeah, he goes down there, and she like goes, "Do you see it?" And he goes, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, come up." And just silence, silence. And she goes down there, and she goes over to the room. Nothing. He's gone. Like, and then I'm waiting for him to pop up and kidnap her and drug her or whatever, or someone else too, and it'd be this thing. And she runs into this wall, like she backs into it, and like it moves, and it's another door, and it leads down these stairs in this like cave system stairs, and and it's another like don't go in there. Like she put a door in front of the basement, a chair in front of the basement door, so she wouldn't get locked in there, and that it's smart. And like at that point, like I would have been gone, and I don't think there's another car there. I think her car is the only one there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's Ubering, but that's weird.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that until just now. That's weird that she pulls up and there's nothing else there. It's just her car, and like if he's from there, he might know. I don't know, because apparently he's from there. Like not the house, but the
because he said he was checking out the area.
Yeah, so maybe he has someone picking him up. I don't know, but that's weird to think about. Like he's just around.
Well, and then it also makes you wonder, like, who is Keith?
Yeah, and like he tells her these things, and he knows these things, and like he knows what she's interested in. He knows that about this movie, and apparently he's interested in this stuff too, but like. It's so many coincidences, and I think that's part of the red flag thing. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that's this.
Yeah, like, he's like insane red herring. Once we're about to get there. We're
close. So yeah, oh okay, yeah. So she opens the door and she hears she's calling for Keith, and then you hear like faintly, just like him screaming for help. Yeah, like, he goes, help me, like. And so she goes down the stairs, and she goes down these stairs, and like the first time you're watching it, it feels like forever. She's been going down these stairs for 20 minutes, and it's been like 5 seconds. Yeah, but you just darkness.
Anticipation.
Yeah, and then when she gets down, she finds these dog kennels,
which is even more creepy.
Right, and then like there's like and it's, all this stuff is old. It hasn't been used in forever. So she keeps going down, and Keith crawls out of the darkness, all creepy like, and then like my brain's going back to Pennywise.
Yeah,
like, and he's like, help me, and she's like, well, let's get out of here, and like she's trying to get him to go, and he's like, no, we can't go that way, let's go that way. And I'm just like, this dude is trying to kidnap me.
Yeah, like, he's faking it.
He is gaslighting like crazy.
Yeah,
and like the whole movie just boom, like this guy. And he's like, no, we have to go this way, and you have to be quiet.
You think it's the guy.
He's like, something bit me. Something, like, he's freaking out. And then, like, she's like, we have to get out of here. And out of the darkness comes this giant, like, creature. and like grabs him by the head and just starts slamming him into the wall, and like there's blood.
Yeah.
And Tessa's screaming.
He's gone.
Yeah, and and then I think it drops him, but then like we cut to Justin Long driving down the freeway in like California, like on the ocean's right there, and he's just singing a song, like this little like I can't remember what the song is called, but it's like Tiki Taki something like that. It's like a
70s ricka-dicka-dicka.
Yeah, like anti-establishment song or whatever. And he's going down the road and he's singing, he's having a good time, and it's just a drastic like change of pace.
They're like, oh, this is another movie.
Mm-hmm. So he gets a phone call, and it's these people, probably like his lawyer or something, or like the studio's lawyer. He's like, I think he's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and they're like, hey, we got some bad news. And he's like, oh, what happened with the pilot? Did we not get picked up? And they're like, no, it's worse than that. He's like, well, what's going on? And they're like, this girl, Megan, said that you like were sexually aggressive with her. I think they say sexually aggressive.
Yeah.
And like if they're gonna move forward with it, like he can't be attached to it. And then so like he's getting fired from that, and like he's just like this isn't true, and he keeps calling her like a fucking bitch and stuff like that.
Which is not helping him.
Right. And he's mad, and like and so, like, they're just like...
He plays such a good asshole.
Yeah. So, when you think of Justin Long, and AJ is the character name. When you think of Justin Long, you think of, like, a dodgeball. Or, like, he's always, like, super
a nice guy.
Chill, funny dude, and silly. And, dodgeball, very, like, prop falling and stuff like that. So, he doesn't normally play, like, a creep or anything like that. And and Justin Long is just a charming guy, so like it's in there too, but like so he pulls over, he like hangs up the phone, pulls over, and was like, shit, like what am I gonna do? And we cut to him talking to his like financial advisor, attorney, and he is telling him how much this stuff would cost, like that he has the trial of him doing the thing, and then the trial of him fighting it, and how much those would cost him.
And isn't he like, I don't think I can help you anymore?
Well, so he tells him by the end of it, he'll be like at zero with no new income coming in, except for like some money from these houses that he rents out for like Air BnB.
Yeah.
And that's the house. One of the houses is the house that we saw. And so he says, by the end of the week, I'm giving you all your files back. He goes, cool, what's that mean? He goes, oh, I'm not going to be your attorney anymore. And he's like, okay, I'll leave. So we get another cut, and he's in a he's in a airport, and he sees the story on the phone about him being, I guess, Me Too. And like when this movie came out,
because it was right when it was really hot.
So, So, like, he sees the story, and remember, because he pulls his hat down, and he's, like, going through, and he goes out to, I think he is in Detroit at this point, in California, Detroit, because he has houses in Detroit, and so
I think he's from there,
yeah, because his mom calls him later, and he, like, doesn't tell her he's in town.
Yeah.
She's like, just come to Detroit.
She's like, come to Detroit, and he's like, I can't go to Detroit right now, and he is in Detroit.
Yeah. So, and he's talking to his lawyer, and he's like, I'm, liquidating stuff. I'm like, because his lawyer says, like, it looks like you're fleeing, like, you're going to Detroit. He's like, I'm not here on vacation. I'm just trying to get some money together. So he gets a rental car, goes to the place where his houses are, and they give him, like, the keys to one of the houses, and he goes to it. And, like, he starts walking around. Like, he gets inside. He sees the boxes open for the keys from when that guy chased her inside. And so he gets in the house, walking around. He's like, he calls the company. He's like, there's someone staying here. Like, he's like, do I have squatters? What's going on? And they're like, no one's been there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which makes it like, these are terrible companies.
Right. To show like how inept they are. And he's like, there's stuff here. Like, like there's been no maids to clean up, and they're like, no, they only clean up before someone comes, and like you're not like a guest, so like we didn't call them. And he's like, what if someone trashes one? So anyway, so he's looking around, he's going through all their stuff, and he goes through Tessa's stuff, and he finds their computer and can't get in. He tries like one thing, and he throws it, which is really fucked up. I'm like, that's so rude.
He's like such a like. His ego is huge.
Yeah, he's like a self-entitled asshole. And then, so he's talking to his mom on the phone. He tells his mom that this girl's a fucking bitch and stuff like that. And she's like, that's not very nice.
He's like, well, look what she did.
And
he doesn't take accountability.
Right. So
which we see in this next scene. Like after he... gets ready.
So
he goes and visits his friend.
So his phone starts ringing while he's on the phone, and it's a buddy of his. Yeah. And he's like, I got a business call, Mom. I'll call you back. And he answers it, and
he's like, hey, what's up?
And he says what's up, and he calls him the F slur.
Yeah.
And it's like terrible. It's to show like who this guy is. Yeah. Like oh, he's an asshole. Yeah. So anyway,
and isn't it the director?
It's the director. Yeah, it's cameo by the director. So they go to this bar, and the guy's like, we've been friends forever. You can be straight up with me. Like,
just tell me what happened.
I've read what it says, but I want to hear from you what happened, because we're buddies. Like, I'll believe you, or just tell me what happened. And he's like,
and it kind of goes dark.
Yeah, he's like, well, she's like. She said no, like at first, but like,
and then you're like,
he goes, but I got the eye of the tiger,
which makes it worse. Like it's so bad.
He's like, I kept pursuing after she said no, and like in his eyes, I don't know if he's just so like about himself, he doesn't realize that's, and his buddy doesn't say anything.
But you as a viewer, like, yeah, this is wrong.
Yeah, and who knows?
You're in the wrong.
Yeah. So but like, so you don't know if he's right or wrong. He is an asshole until we get to this point where he just says like, yes, but I didn't like take advantage of her or anything. I just pursued her until she said yes. And like, I don't know if she said yes, but like eventually she just did it, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, we'll cut back to him going into the Airbnb. And he's wasted. He calls the girl, and his lawyer told him not to call her. And he's like, "Listen, I'm sorry. Like, maybe we didn't quite understand each other. Things got out of hand. Like, and I'm really sorry. It's a voicemail." And he's like, "Call me back. Like, and I'll tell you I'm sorry again." And like, neither of us meant to like hurt each other or something. Hangs up, passes out, and he wakes up the next day, and I think he starts looking around again, and he finds that's when he goes in the bathroom, right?
Yeah. And then he sees that door.
Yeah. So he remembers that there was the chair in front of the door when he got there, and so he opens it, and he goes down there, so he opens the door, and he's up top, and he hears like he's like, is anybody down there? And he hears like a thump or something. He's like, I'm not kidding. I have a gun. You got 30 seconds. I'll come down there and shoot you. Like nothing happens. And I remember because he goes into the room and he gets dressed because he like in his boxers and like a shirt. And he's like, squat in my house. I'm a man. I'll fuck you up. Like, and he's like getting himself all hyped up. And he goes in the kitchen, gets this little knife. It's a sharp knife. And he goes downstairs, and he doesn't see anything. Doesn't see anybody. But he sees the mirror, and the mirror was like where it was facing the door, but the door's closed. And so he's looking around, and he sees the door, and he pulls the rope, the door opens, and he's like, holy shit. And he goes down the hallway, and he sees cause I think the room light's still on. And he sees the lights still on. And he's like, holy shit, like, what's going on? You know, you see the bed, you see the camera.
And you think he's gonna be like, oh, like,
Right.
huh? And then it pans to a tape measure.
No, not yet.
Right?
It
doesn't.
He's on the computer. He
Oh, okay.
Googles
Yeah.
like
That's right.
basement, extra rooms in the basement count as square foot because he's trying to sell the houses.
Mm-hmm.
And so he Googles it. And then it cuts to him with a tape measure.
Yeah. Because then he's like, oh my gosh, I struck gold. Like,
Yeah,
basically is what he's thinking. And then he grabs a tape measure, and then he's just not worried about whatever that noise is. He's not worried about the creepy camera and stuff. He's like, look at all this footage.
You see him move he moves the bed.
Yeah, he moves
the camera.
he's measuring everything. He's like,
and he sits on the bed for a second, and he's like counting up how much space is in there, and he's just like, he goes, ew, and he like wipes his butt off.
Yeah.
And then so he goes outside the room, and then he finds the other one, and like cave stairs, super creepy.
And you think he's gonna be like, but he's like, and then you see the tape measure go down there.
So and then like, so he gets down the stairs and he gets to where the dog crates are. And he starts tape measuring, and like the theater, like I'm busting up in the theater, like I'm just like,
we're laughing.
This dude, like this is the red flag scenario with him, but he's just oblivious to it. Like this is not like, okay, like say hypothetically like basement, like I don't know, storm shelter or something, like maybe, but then like the camera and the nasty bed,
which you could go back to him being oblivious to how he assessed the situation with the girl,
right?
Like he's just oblivious to everything.
Yeah, that he didn't do anything wrong, like, and so, but yeah, so he keeps going down, and then he gets to the baby room, and he's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And you see like he has his shirt up because it like stinks in there and stuff, and there's this video, and it's of this woman like breastfeeding, and like how like, and so which is a fun little cameo by the director's wife, which is girl from Aquamarine, the main mermaid chick. What is her name? Paxton, blonde girl.
Oh, what is her name?
But
that's her.
Yeah, she's in Innkeepers, and she's in Aquamarine, and Jake. I don't know if he has those movies, but I don't know what his whole thing is with him. But I know he knows who she is.
I know her. She was on some like TV show. I think like what was it? I can't remember the name. Darcy's Wild.
But you know who it is, the blonde girl.
Yeah,
and so I was looking stuff up, and I found that, and I was like, that's really cool. And that it's the director's wife, and I didn't know they were together. So. But like I was like, that's a fun little cameo, and apparently one of the voices from the call that calls AJ is another cameo, and I can't remember who that one was. But that one, I know the video voice is the girl from Aquamarine, whose name's something Paxton.
So it's not her.
It's not her. It's not her on the video. She's the narrator.
Gotcha.
And so he's going down these cave things. It's so weird, like, and then you see, and the creature is called like the mother, and so you see the mother come out and like scare him, and like he has a flashlight, and he like runs from her, and I think she comes out from where he was before, because she probably passed the room while he was in it. This is the only way that would make sense. And so he runs the other way, and he drops the flashlight, and this is really cool, because he's trying to get the flashlight to work, and like it flashes, and you could see in the distance, and it's like darkness, it goes so far, and then it's darkness, just like a flashlight. And then like as he's hitting it, you see her, and like coming out of the thing, hits it again, she's a little bit closer, and hits it again, she's right there, right on him, and like he takes off, he's running, falls into a hole.
Yep. He
cuts himself with a knife, like an accident, obviously.
Yeah.
And so he's in this hole, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on? And then there's a cage door, and it just closes. And He's like kind of freaking out, and then Tess pops up and scares him. And she's like, shh. Yeah, she had to be quiet. Yeah. And what happens next, Jake?
I don't remember exactly. Oh, the bottle. I thought that was a little bit later.
I don't think there's anything else that happens before. Does it the flashback happen then?
It might be the flashback. Yeah, I think it's the flashback.
Is it the flashback? I don't feel like that happens yet. Maybe. We're gonna go into the flashback. We might be a little off. There might be some separation here, but that's the only because nothing else would happen because all the characters we know are right there, and so we'll go into the flashback. So we flash back to the house, and the grass is green, and the neighborhood's there, and this guy comes out of the house.
Yeah, and all the houses look new now.
Right. It's so he gets in his car to leave, and a radio program comes on, and they're talking about the Reagan administration. So this is like the 80s.
Yeah, you could tell it's the 80s, right? And with the songs and the cars.
Mm-hmm. So this guy leaves the house and he goes to the grocery store and he's like, I need plastic sheets to this worker. And so she gets some plastic sheets and she's like, what else do you need? He's like, I'm having a baby, a home birth baby.
Yeah.
And and she's like, well, let me help you. And she gives them diapers.
Yeah. Really good camera shots because you don't see his face.
Yeah, it follows behind him a lot.
Until
like right
later.
behind him. Like the center of his hair, like you see it. And when he's talking to her, you see in front of him when he's pushing the cart.
Yeah.
And she gets him the stuff and she gives him the tape that they're playing, the baby breastfeeding tape.
Yeah.
And so he's going around the store and gets all this stuff. And then he goes back and he gets in his car and he puts it in his trunk. And then he kind of pulls back. And while he's doing it, he's looking at this person across the street in this blue car. And she gets all her stuff in her car and she starts going and he starts going. And then it cuts to him like down the street from her at her house, like, getting stuff. And he gets into the back of his car and gets this jumpsuit. And it says like Carlos on it. Yeah. I remember because like the first thing you see is when he pulls out, it says Carlos.
Yeah.
And so he goes and he goes to her house, knocks on the door, and he says he's like with a water company or something like that. And he goes into her bathroom, turns the faucet on, unlocks the window, turns the faucet off, and goes, everything's all good. And he leaves. And then like, and I think that we cut back after that. I think
but one thing you forgot to talk about, there's a guy, is he like watering his lawn or?
Oh, okay. No, he goes back home after that, and he's talking. And he gets back to his house, and he talks to his dad. So, okay, right. I forgot about this neighbor.
And he's like, "Yeah, we don't really want to tell anybody, but you know, we're leaving. There's going to be a for sale sign up here. You know, the neighborhood's getting kind of rough around here."
Yeah, I think he says going to hell.
Yeah, and he's gonna leave, and he asks him. He's like, "Well, what about you?" And he's like, I'm going nowhere.
He goes, yeah, I'm not going nowhere. And then he walks to his house. That's okay. And he walks into his house, and he has all this stuff, and he goes over to the basement door, opens the basement door, and he's screaming, like a woman screaming, like this guy, like he's a monster, like, and you don't like just all the things you see. That's all you see from him. Is, like, you know, he followed this woman, unlocked her window, went home, like. So screaming from his basement.
And that's the thing, like, it's the stuff your mind makes up that's scarier.
So, like with...
You don't know.
So, with this guy in the basement thing, like, the door creaking closed, it, like, is this part of his design? Does it close by itself as, like, a failsafe if they get out? Like, if they get out of that... Like, there's so many... There's the cage that they're in that we got up to. There's the dog kennels, you know, but, like... These women that he's caught, and we find out later there's multiple different women that he's not caught, he's kidnapped. That like is it like I was like, is this like a failsafe? Like, is this like my last line of defense of them escaping? Is this basement door that closes by itself? Because hypothetically, he went down there, walked down there, and like they stabbed him or whatever, like where he couldn't do what he wants to do, and then they're gone. Like, and then like boom, basement closed. He's back up there. They're back down there. I don't know, but like, because the way that door works, like, there's something weird about that. Like, I don't think it's just a bad door. Like, I think there's some more to it than that. yeah, so we cut back down to them in the hole, and Tess tells them that he needs to be there, like he needs to stay calm when she's around. Like if he freaks out when she's around, she'll freak out, and then she pops up
with the bottle.
At the bottle, and then what'd she do?
She like says, "What does she?"
She like
say?
goes to hand it to him, and like he won't take it.
Yeah,
and
he's
she
like,
takes
"No."
it over to Tess.
Yeah.
And Tess takes a drink, and then when she comes back to Justin or to AJ, you see this hair on the nipple, and apparently that was an accident with the wig that the mother characters had. Like it got stuck to it, and like the director thought it looked really gross, and it did look really gross, and like so he kept it, and so that's why that looks like that. And he won't take the bottle. And so, like, the door opens. She jumps down there. I think this is the first time we get a good look at it. It's still dark. And, like, I think this is the first time we get a really good look at her. Because for the most part, like, we'd seen her. Like, I wasn't sure if it was her, if it was, like, a monster, like a Blair Witch or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And, like, that's what the vibes it gave me when I saw it. When she would come out of the darkness was, like, Blair Witch kind of feeling. Like something about it was weird, and there's a couple movies that kind of reminded me of Blair Witch, kind of being one of them. I've recently watched Fresh, and it reminded me of that. I don't think Jake's seen Fresh yet. With Keith, but she takes him out of the cage, and
I don't remember. Doesn't he just start running?
To breastfeed him?
Oh yeah, she tries. Yeah.
So she tries to breastfeed.
Isn't she like mama?
Yeah, she only says "ba."
Like,
ba. Like she says "baby," but she also just says "ba ba ba." And so she takes him and she like moves her hair, and she has this like boob, and she's just like putting it against him. He's like, no, which is like turnabout's fair play kind of thing, like because he had done basically the same thing. The biggest difference is like we'll get into the biggest difference later, but like so she's trying to force him to eat, like he is her baby, and like so and like that's what Tess tells him is like that all she wants is them to be her baby, and Tess gets out of the hole. The cage is left open. Tess gets out, passes by where they're at, and like goes upstairs, goes to leave, and like let's see,
she gets out.
She does get out, okay, and this is where yeah. So she gets out and she leaves the house. The mother hears the tape measure that he had because he dropped it.
Yeah.
And she goes to chase her, and she gets out and she gets up to that window where she threw the keys to Keith, and she breaks it. Like, and she crawls out of it, and that homeless guy grabs her and pulls her out.
And he's like, I told you.
He's like, I told you not to go in that house. Like, she lives in that house. She comes out at night. And like she's like, we have to get help. There's somebody in there. He's like, there's no help in him. And this is when she starts walking down the street, because like she's not going to the house to get her keys or anything. Like she's not going back in there at this point in time. And she goes to find help, and then she walks around Detroit
and gets the cops.
She finds the cops.
Yeah.
She calls the cops from a gas station, and they come and get her, and she has been stuck down in a basement for 3 weeks. And so like the cops see her and they think she's like homeless or crazy or whatever,
on drugs.
Yeah. She tells them she's not a crackhead.
Yeah.
And then so
they're like, where's your ID? She's like, I don't have any. Like, I have nothing.
I've been held captive for 3 weeks. Why would I have an ID? Like,
and they're so calm.
Oh, but they're dismissive.
Yeah, they're very dismissive.
Yeah. And so like she's doing what you're supposed to do, what they tell you to do when this stuff happens. And like these things like happen, like people don't listen to you, like police, like they're not the best, like, and that's horrible. Like it shouldn't be that way, but like this is realistic right here. This is, she looks crazy. They assume she's crazy. But like at the same time, like she's been held captive for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna look crazy. She hasn't had a shower. She's wearing the same clothes. She is rough. And they take her to the house, and she's trying to tell them that someone's in there. Someone could be getting murdered, and they won't listen to her. And they say like, the only crime I see is that you broke this window.
Yeah.
And she's like kicking the door. And so they leave. They get a call and they leave. And she's like, I can't believe you're not gonna help.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're gonna take you. Like, if you keep this up, we're gonna take you in and let you sleep this off. She's like, I'm not on anything. And she's so mad. So when she is going around the streets into the gas station, that's in Detroit. They filmed it in the area where it's set, and then the rest is in like Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And then so the cops leave, and then
does it go back to?
I think does it go back to Justin? I don't think so. I think she goes back in and gets her keys, and then she goes to leave.
Yeah, that's right. She goes back, and Mother comes out, right?
So she gets her keys, and so the homeless guy said that she comes out at night. And she gets her keys, and she leaves the house, and she gets in her car, and she backs up, and the lights hit the car. And it's really funny because in the trailer where Justin Long is like, it's like brought to you by the guys who brought you Alvin and the Chipmunks and stuff, like the silly trailer. You see these lights, like when she pulls back and sees the house with the lights, and he's like, I have to liquidate some houses. Like, it's like, building a different story to trick you. Which trailers give so much away, and I like it when they don't. And this one really didn't. So, but yeah, so her lights hit the house, and she backs up, and then Mother just bursts through the door. And like starts running at the car. So I guess we haven't really talked about Mother, what she looks like. She's like
huge creature,
8 feet tall, or maybe like 7. She's big, she's lanky, she's naked.
Yeah, and like
monster.
Her head looks bigger and deformed with like a little bit of hair.
Yeah, it's like strands of hair. Like nothing. It's not like it's very thin.
And I think like her.
I imagine she's hunched because of the way the basement's set up. And that's where she grew up, and that's why I'm pretty sure that's why she comes out at night, is because she grew up in this cave system. And like she doesn't know, like I guess the sun probably hurts. The light probably hurts. And so she comes out, full monster, like going after the car, and Tess just floors it forward, slams her in the house. She's screaming, and then she like fades and like rests her head on the eyes wide open. And
so Tess goes in.
So Tess opens the door, and like as far as she knows, the monster's dead. And she goes to get AJ, and so AJ, we might have seen AJ going through the tunnels. Or this might be where he's going through the tunnel. So he goes back down towards where the cage is. But so there's a walkway here, and then a tees, and then the cage is this way, and then there's something this way. And he sees a bell. And he follows the string to the bell, and he goes to this room. And he goes to the room, and then so this is before that because the mother comes, so he gets away from her somehow. He gets away from her when Tess is escaping. Okay. And so she comes back downstairs, and you hear her, and she comes towards him from the darkness. He has his phone, and he has, I think he just has his phone at this point. So he has his phone, and he sees her coming towards him, and he gets to this door, and she comes towards him, and like she gets where you can see her, and then she goes back into the darkness. And like you're like, okay, that's weird, because every time you see her come out, she goes right to him, grabs him, and takes him, and does whatever she is gonna do. So he goes in this room, and he is walking around this room with his phone, and he comes across. He goes over to this shelf, and he picks up this flower dress. And if I'm not mistaken, that lady that the guy unlocked the window, I think she was wearing that flower dress.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think so. I could be just putting it there because, you know,
Yeah.
when we find out, which we're about to find out, like, I have a feeling like that baby room.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of stuff on the floor, right? I think it's clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's all their clothes from the years. And so he's in that room, and the guy coughs.
Yeah.
It scares him.
Yeah.
And you see...
It's the same guy, but he's just older and gross.
Yeah.
He's like coughing. He's on his bed and asks for water and gives him water.
He doesn't say anything.
Well, he doesn't say anything. He's like, I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
And he brings him like his...
he keeps pointing over
where the water is.
And like the water's already gone.
And so he just brings that desk to him, that side table to him. And then doesn't he like notice all the videotapes?
So he goes, he says, he is like, we're going to get help. We're going to get out of here. He goes, at least like, I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah.
He keeps saying like, I'm going to get out of here. I can get out of here, whatever. And he turns around and he sees all these tapes, like, and as a VHS like collector guy, I don't want any of these tapes.
Yeah.
And they're marked and like
they all different names.
There's names and like
there's like one's like waitress,
like Irish accent, and some of them are just like gross.
Yeah.
And like
he puts one in.
So there's one ready to be in, and he just pushes it in, and it's like Redhead gas station, Redhead or something like that. And then it cuts to this is when Tess gets the car.
Okay.
And so it cuts to Tess, and then it cuts back, and he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" To the old guy, like
you're a monster.
This is fucked up. And like,
which is kind of showing what he sort of was to the other woman, but this is a little more hardcore.
Yeah,
but
what AJ did was wrong, and like, and he should face consequences for it, and like, but he's not. If you're comparing, like, this guy did these things intentionally as like a monstrous person.
Yeah,
kidnap, like, rape, murder, probably.
We don't know.
Yeah, like, you don't see the tape, thank God.
I know.
But like, you know, this guy is you get Justin, like, you have a scale, and here's Justin Long down here, and here's this guy, you know, of like the bad shit you can do, and but Justin Long, like, who not to the same extent did something similar, and he's looking at this guy, and he's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how could you do this? And like, this guy has like 30 tapes, like, and they're all labeled something, and the guy pulls out a gun. He's like, whoa, like, don't do anything crazy. And he kind of points at him for a second, and then he comes back, and he just shoots himself. Because Justin Long tells him, like, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna call the cops. They're gonna be everywhere around here. Like, we're gonna get all this. They're gonna know what happened down here, and what happened down there is what this guy did.
Yep. So
like, this is where the name, I think, comes in kind of for like, what could be what? Is he the Barbarian? Is this the old guy the Barbarian? Because that's what I would say. Because what he did was barbaric.
Yes.
So like, and then like, but also, is the mother the Barbarian? Like, what? The name could be anything.
And it's like Justin Long's sort of a barbarian.
Right. And so like, reality's showing like holding up a mirror to AJ, and like a very, very gross, disgusting mirror, but like, what is a possibility for him? So he gets the gun, and he leaves the room, and he has his flashlight, and he has the gun. He's going through the tunnels, and Tess is coming from the other side. And you see Tess coming down, and as far as Tess knows, the mother is dead.
Yeah.
And she's going down, she sees the light, and she goes, I think he told her his name, and she goes, AJ, and then you just hear a pop, pop.
And then you're like, oh my
light,
gosh.
and then she's down on the ground. And like, he comes
He's
up
like,
to her.
I'm so sorry.
He's like, it's not my fault. It was an accident. And blah, blah. And he's always, it's not my fault. It was an
Yeah.
accident kind of thing. But like this one, yes. Like, you know,
This is his fault.
it is his fault. But like, if you're in a cave,
It is an accident.
yeah. And like, and she's alive, and he gets her up, and she has and like, they get outside, and they go.
She's
upstairs,
just clit.
And they get outside, and he's like, your car's all fucked up. And she's like, she's gone. She's not on the car anymore. And he's like, where the fuck is she? And she's like, I don't know. Let's get out of here. And they go down the street. And he's like, where are we gonna go?
And she knows to go to that place where the homeless guy was.
Right. She knows that he stays down the street now, because he tells her. And
it's like the safest place.
Yeah. And so they go down there, and they're like, well, where is this guy? They're walking there. He goes, hey, like, and he always just pops up, get out of the house. Like, he didn't say that, but like, I just think like the way he just speaks, like, and so I was watching this on Hulu, and it says Andre on it, and so like we learned, like, that's how we learned. I don't think he ever says his name is Andre. He might have, I don't remember.
But yeah, isn't this where like Justin Long's kind of like thinking back and reflecting?
Yeah.
And he's like, am I a bad person or just a good person who did a bad thing?
Right.
Like,
you see that he's like reflecting, and like, is he growing? Like, we don't know. Like, but like he, you know, he's talking about it,
and we're gonna see as we.
So they, Andre starts telling him the backstory.
Yeah.
And he says that like, all right, so he says that you own that house, but like, that's not your house. That's her daddy's house.
Yeah. And he's been living there for a long time.
Yeah. And so he's like, she's lived there for 40 years.
Yeah.
And he's lived there, and he takes women in there and makes babies with them. And he makes
babies with the babies.
And I think he says it again.
Yeah.
The babies
with those babies.
And so.
And that's the product
yeah.
of all these years of inbreeding.
And I think, like, and we don't have a sequel or anything, or a prequel or anything, but like, I think she might be the last one.
Yeah.
I think she is
the strongest or whatever.
I guess so. I mean, maybe they hate each other. I don't know.
But it just makes it even grosser.
So when the guy says that she comes out at night earlier, so I think she goes and she finds food and stuff for him, and then takes it to him. Like, she doesn't, like, I'm pretty sure she's afraid of him because like how she backs up from the room. But I think if he rings that bell, she'll bring him food or something. Yeah, like to keep him alive. And I think when Justin Long said that, like, he's gonna have the cops come, like, that's like, he was just like, nope, boom, done. Yeah. And so he's telling them, and they're like, well, how come she's never come here? He's like, I've lived here 15 years. She's never came in this motherfucker.
And that's
and
when,
just,
boom,
Kool-Aid Man through the wall.
Oh yeah.
Complete with oh yeah. She doesn't say oh yeah. No. She comes in, she grabs him, she just like crushes his head. No, she doesn't crush his head.
She rips his arm off.
Yeah, she throws him down and like rips his arm off. She starts beating him with his own arm. Yeah. And then they start running, and they can't get out from the fence. And there's like this water tower. Is it a water tower?
Yeah. And then Justin just runs up it. He's like, I'm going to live or whatever.
Yeah, I can get out of here.
I can get out of here. And he goes up there. Tess goes with him. And she's up there. And then he's like, I can get us out of this. I can get us out of this. And then he
goes, but I need you to distract her.
He's like, but I need you to distract her. Grabs her, throws her
by the hair, like
throws her off.
Yeah. And then you see the mother jump.
And she's like, no, the baby.
Yeah. And she jumps over the ledge, and like he looks over the edge, and like they're laying on the ground, and like the mother's there, and then Tess is on top of her. Mm-hmm. And he goes down there, and like,
and he's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But he's glad he's safe.
Yeah. And then Tess like coughs or something.
Yeah.
He's breathing, and he's like,
like, you slipped.
Yeah, I had to do it. You slipped, and I couldn't catch you, and like you, it was your fault. Yeah. But I'm saving you now.
He can't take responsibility.
Yeah, he goes, I'm saving you now, and he goes to like help her up, and then the mother gets up and like just grabs him around the throat.
Yeah, and then you see her thumbs.
Well, so like I think at this point, like he's not the baby anymore. Like, no, he tried to kill the baby, her baby, in her eyes, and so like she grabs him by the throat and is like lifting him up, and like Justin Long has a very good scared face. I'm
Yeah.
surprised he doesn't do more horror. He might now. Who knows?
I mean,
Like this and Jeepers Creepers, like he is
so
very
good.
like hit like what holds Jeepers Creepers together is Justin Long. And we'll do a little dive into Jeepers Creepers in just a minute.
And I think we made a joke about this because we had seen the newest Jeepers Creepers like before.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Yeah, we saw it like a few days before.
It sucks.
And we were like, yeah, it's terrible. But I looked over and I was like, this is the Jeepers Creepers we wanted. Because like it was such a good monster movie. And like
the original, not the remake, not the new one.
No, but I'm saying that Barbarian was such a good movie.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, this is the Jeepers Creepers we wanted.
Sorta.
Somewhat. Because
we need Justin Long.
She grabs him.
And then her hands come up, and then she takes her thumbs and just like pushes them.
And it's very Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah. Well, so in like spoilers for Jeepers Creepers, Justin Long's eyes get taken in Jeepers Creepers, and so like he his whole body gets taken, but like at the end of the movie we see him and he has no eyes, and so she pushes her thumbs into his eyes and he dies, and then turns around to Tess and tries to pick her up, and she's just like, no, she's hurt from the being shot by AJ, and she goes to pick her up, and she's like, no, I can't. She's like pointing at the house, and she's like, I can't go back. But she's just exhausted, and the gun's on the ground, and she like reaches for it, and like she picks the gun up and puts it right to the mother's face, like it's like touching her face,
and she's like,
and then she's like, but, and she's trying to take her over there to the house, and she just pulls the trigger,
boom,
and then
don't you hear boom, 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 clap, boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, clap, and it's Be My Baby.
Be My Baby starts,
yeah,
and so
which is. I love that era of music, and I think it's great when they pull like older songs that are like happy and awesome, because it
and it's like that's basically what the mother is saying.
Yeah.
So with the like all the stuff you see, like I would say that the mother character and like all the stuff I've read, like it's just called the mother, and so like the monster. She is not the barbarian. She is
a creation.
Yeah, like this is how she grew up. This is all she knows is to take care of babies because of her dad, grandpa, great grandpa guy. Like,
yeah,
that's all she knows. And like so, like she may be big and scary, but like she was taking care of him as far as she knew. She like is the what's the word? The
guardian?
Not guardian, like in a monster movie that what chases you. Not the antagonist. Maybe it is antagonist. So she may be the antagonist, but like she is not the
she's not the driver.
Right. This is all she knows. And at the end you can see that she just wants to take care of Tess. And like but like, and I think Tess is putting her out of her misery. Like she doesn't know that's all she knows.
It was very much a Old Yeller kill, except not as sad. Because you're glad that
right, like I said, put her out of her misery.
You're glad that monster is put to rest.
And as the credits are going, you see Tess like get out, like the credits,
and she's walking.
Black credits, and then it cuts to the end. She gets up, and she's walking away. And like she just leaves.
Yeah.
Like she's finally able to get out of there without the mother chasing her down, and AJ's dead, and Keith is dead.
Yeah.
The guy down in the basement is dead. Like all these, Andre is dead. Like this whole scenario, all the people surrounding it, besides those two cops that probably should have got killed.
Yeah.
I wish they would have went in the house. I wish they would have died.
Yeah.
They were assholes.
They're gonna see all the corpses later,
right?
If they go by and be like, what happened?
Maybe that crazy lady was right.
Yeah. We're gonna have to forge these reports.
So, but yeah, so she leaves. Credits are going. It's Be My Baby, and I remember being in the theater with Jake, and like just like throughout the movie, like me and Jake are not interacting. In the movies, normally we talk a little bit, like not loud. We just like lean in real close, and we're like, this thing, like.
I mean, I think we looked over at each other and we're just like.
But I think we were so fixated on it.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. Because anytime something happens, we just like. Like our eyes get wide. We're like, oh, that was cool.
Eyebrows going up. Whoa.
And it's just like, we'll talk about this later.
Right. But yeah, I remember being in the theater with Jake, and so yesterday I watched it last night.
Yeah, and I did too.
I text Jake and I was like, watch it, like, so it's fresh because like I haven't watched. I hadn't seen it since the theater. Yeah, so this is my second time watching it, and I don't really have notes. Like, I kind of remember stuff, and that's how, because like this podcast is me and Jake just talking to each other about a movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not, we don't like, unless like we're talking about Top Gun and I start talking about Cocktail. That's the only time that like, that's gonna be an issue. But that's not really how my brain works. So, and I'll take notes here and there, but like for the most part, we're just shooting the shit, and just. Talking about this movie, and
but I think you go pretty good as far as like
details.
This happens first, details.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know when it happens.
Yeah,
just throw it in there.
Yeah, for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes, I was just explaining, and you're like, I don't remember this part at all.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, when is that?
Yeah.
But I just like A to B. I don't know how to get from A to B. I just know A and B, and then I'll throw the things in there.
Well, and then like there's details I remember, details Jake, like especially like the stuff that we have looked up, like the cameo of the voice on the baby thing.
And
I thought Jake would think that was cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And what IMDb got wrong.
Well, like, and we're gonna go down IMDb and kind of see what they got, and there's not a lot of Barbarian, and that's why I looked up some interviews with the director and the cast, and literally the first thing I saw of this movie is an interview with Justin Long, and it wasn't intentional, it just kind of happened, and I saw like it started on my YouTube and the audio was on, like I had the sound on. And I was like, oh no! I was like, stop. Because like I didn't want to know anything. Like, and it's like did you see Violent Night?
No, I don't
with
think
the Santa movie with
No, I haven't. No.
But in Violent Night, Santa is there, and like he used to be a Viking, and you have a split-second shot of him as a Viking, like before he was Santa, and he's just covered in blood and has a Viking helmet on. And so like when I saw the name Barbarian, like I assumed it was a barbarian, and I was like, that's what it's gonna be, brutal, like it's gonna be murdery, it's gonna be. I haven't watched it yet, but I've been meaning to watch Northman.
Yeah.
And like that, like it looks like it's gonna be brutal, and that's what I thought this was gonna be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how that movie is. We'll get to it.
Northman isn't really a scary movie though.
So this is mostly horror movies, but I think we'll dabble in a couple things here and there. I'm a sucker for a 80s movie where the character is dressed in a devil costume.
Oh, yeah.
For a split second.
Like a poorly animated.
Yeah, like a bad, cheap devil costume with a drawn-on mustache. So, that's horror adjacent enough for me.
So what do you think we should rate this movie? Are we doing a rating system?
This movie, like, going into it like we did, just makes it so much better than, like anything I've ever seen. Is it the best horror movie I've ever seen? I don't think so. But I'm also biased.
Well, and then also like you could say your experience, and that's why like one of my really good friends, may he rest in peace, Jimmy Bramley. Yeah. He used to always tell me, because he was like, support the arts because you love art,
right?
Like, so go to the movie, like. It's expensive, but it's very worth it. And
over the years of places I've worked, and like when I was in school, and like early 2000s when we were in like middle school, like people would bootleg stuff, and like you can go streaming and stuff, like that's fine too. But like to go to the theater and experience like these movies on a big screen, like I didn't get to go see Trick or Treat. They were doing a special showing of Trick or Treat in a theater, the big screen. Like it came out on DVD. It didn't have a theatrical release. So like I didn't get to go see that, but I would be like I was wanting to so bad I couldn't get off work. So,
but the experience makes the movie just as enjoyable, if not more enjoyable, because like our experience was just like, oh, like, and I'll remember that forever, just having a fun time with my best friend.
I think it was like the best way to experience it, like just complete
complete
we didn't know
blindness.
anything. Like we walked into the theater expecting something completely different.
So I highly recommend you maybe ask the person at the theater, be like, hey, sell me a ticket to this movie, but make me go to a different one that's showing, or go to a different one on purpose.
Yeah. Go in we were gonna see Barbarian anyway. We were gonna see Pearl anyway. We saw Pearl the next day instead of Barbarian. Mm-hmm. Go don't watch anything. Just turn your brain off. Don't and this is easier for older movies. My favorite horror movie is The Thing. And if you've never seen The Thing, then going into The Thing blind, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about The Thing.
Oh yeah.
But if you have a chance and you know of a movie that you really have heard about and not heard too much about, but you're just
watch it.
Freddy Krueger or whatever. This is a Freddy Krueger movie, and I've heard about this one in particular over the other ones, positive light.
I mean, some things you probably shouldn't go in. I will never watch Exorcist or any of that stuff because I've seen enough. I know enough about it. That stuff doesn't fly with me.
And that's different because that's part of and Freddy's kind of part of our culture and Exorcist. Mm-hmm. You've seen you're aware of the puke scene and stuff like that. If there is a new movie coming out and you've heard buzz that it's good, and that's all you hear is it's good. And I especially I lean to horror movies, and also sometimes if you haven't heard anything, just go and check it out because we've done that a couple times too, where we hadn't heard anything and we just went and saw it and mixed reviews, but it's fun to do because you don't have your buddy saying oh yeah that movie sucked or whatever, and you go in expecting it's going empty.
And I'm still glad that we went and saw the new Jeepers Creepers because it was a low rated movie and it was terrible, but
I think it was a one night event, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a one night event.
That's the only time it was playing.
It's one time we got to see it, and we have a funny story. People were like, "What?" at the end of it.
Oh, and he stood up and started clapping.
Yeah, I did a slow clap. I thought it needed one.
It was really funny. It was good. So he, but I go into stores and I look for movies. I love physical movies, and I see the new Jeepers Creepers all the time. And it's not going in my collection. It's bad. I have 1 and 2 in a dual set, and they have some bad kind of attachments. Their director is he's basically the guy from The Basement in this movie. So that's kind of weird, actually, thinking about that.
Or Justin Long's character.
Yeah.
Take your pick, I guess.
But well, he got caught with videotapes.
Oh gosh.
Not videotapes, but
so how would you rate Barbarian? Are we going to do a rate system?
We going to do creepers?
Creepers?
5 creepers.
What do you mean?
4 out of 5 creepers. The Jeepers Creepers creeper.
Oh, we could.
Let's see. We can do just star ratings for this one because Air BnB and they do star ratings.
Okay, star. Mm-hmm.
And
out of 5.
You want to do 5? You want to do 10?
We'll do 10.
We do 10. We could do 10.
Okay.
So I would. So we're gonna give this some star rating, and I am gonna give this It's so good.
Yeah.
I'll say 9.5.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. I was going to say 9 or 9.5.
Yeah.
I almost gave it a full 10,
Mm.
but
It's really hard to give a 10. I
But-
do like this a lot.
but the reason why is cuz like there was stuff that I'm just like I wish they kept, I mean they did keep it quiet, like they didn't explain all the rape and stuff, but when rape is in a movie, I'm not a fan. I'm just like,
Okay, yeah.
ugh. So I wish they didn't have that. I know why they had it, and then the monster was disgusting looking, and I could do without it. Like,
Oh, and then, well, so that gives you the background of the monster.
yeah,
The titular monster that's
yeah.
more of a victim.
But I am glad that they made it a little more bland. Like they could have gone into it more,
Right, like.
But I'm glad they didn't. I'm so glad they didn't.
Right. There's movies. What comes to mind is a certain Kubrick movie with some ultra violence in it that we might get into. Malcolm McDowell.
Oh yeah.
Where it's very in your face when it comes to that particular thing, and it's uncomfortable and it's gross.
Yeah.
And this movie, you know, it rides that line, and I think it does it the best way you can with that kind of story.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I think they did a great job. But for it being a horror movie and all types of different horror movies, you had thriller at the beginning, and then you have kind of a misleading, just like suspense. And then it's a monster movie.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a monster movie.
It's mostly a monster movie, but the monster is one of the victims too. The worst thing in this movie is an old man that is stuck in a room in a basement.
Yeah.
He is the monster.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do anything.
No.
Like, he does do stuff, but like it's in a flashback. The guy you meet when they're dealing with the people that we're following, but when we're not following him from the flashback, like they don't have to deal with him. Like,
and IMDb, I'm gonna hopefully redeem you if this is true. I read something. The actor, the old man.
Yes.
Apparently, he went to a showing of this movie.
Yeah.
And these kids like had their phone on as they were leaving, and they shined it and looked behind, and it was him, and they just screamed and left.
Yeah, I saw that too. I hope that's true.
I hope that's true.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
But
Because then he did his job.
if I was to say that Barbarian is the name of something in this movie or whatever, I'd say it was him. And is that what you think?
Yeah, because
I would say he's the Barbarian.
it's his house, and it
his
all
house.
goes around the house.
Right. He's the reason this is happening.
Yes.
He's not pulling the strings or anything. He's not Jigsaw or anything like that. Maybe at one point he was, but when we find him, he's not that. So, but he is the catalyst. Like, if it wasn't for him being this disgusting monster, then none of this would have happened. And it's just so good. Like, when I think of the build up at the beginning with Keith and like the door closing and me just waiting for someone to grab her or whatever, like, and it takes so long. And like, so the first time you see it, it feels like it takes long. It doesn't take that long. But like you're just waiting for the thing to happen, and you're like, I'd say you're on the edge of your seat, just waiting, and it's so effective. You're uncomfortable the whole time because you're just waiting to see these things that you've seen in horror movies, and so that's why I like it so much. Like, you get a thriller in there at the beginning, like, and like to open the door and there's Pennywise right there, like, and you're just like, shit, like, no. And then like twist. Here's another one, like, and they're all good, like, you don't know like where any of these people ended up. Like,
No.
They don't show you, like, and like I said, I think like in that room, I think it's all clothes, and I think that dress that he finds was that one person we saw, because all we need is one for us to tell us what he's been doing, and then to see all this tape.
It's like you kind of don't need to know.
You don't need to know, but like you put two and two together.
Yeah.
This guy's a monster. He's the Barbarian. But yeah, I'd say 9.5 with my rating of it, and like the more I talk, like
yeah, the more I talk about it, it's a 9.5. Yeah,
I want to give it a 10. I really do. Like I could give it a 10. Yeah. Like it's really good. Like
I gave Reanimator a 10.
That's right.
But I had to.
Yeah.
I think it's something that shouldn't be forgotten. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it is a movie that could be forgotten.
Do you see any kind of homages? Is that how you pronounce it?
In this movie?
Yeah. Because like I said, when I see her coming through the darkness, it kind of gives me Blair Witch vibes.
It's got
even though it's not.
It's like, got a lot of pulls.
You never see the Blair Witch in the Blair Witch Project.
It's got a lot of pulls from 90s stuff and current stuff, and like you said, Pennywise.
Right.
And like I was just waiting for his lazy eye to do that thing, you know?
Yeah. Oh man.
Like if he would have done that.
Every time I saw him, I was expecting like murder. Or her getting drugged every single time.
Well, and then you also get, human centipede vibes. When you see the crates and stuff, you're like,
yeah. Oh, when they get down to the dog crates, I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I hope it's not that kind of horror. And it's not. They could have gone that way. Glad they didn't.
If they made a movie with the guy, like from the flashback,
it would be hostile. It wouldn't. It wouldn't be good.
Oh, it'd be.
I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, he wouldn't even go watch it with me. Like, and I would go watch it, and I'd be like, it was gross, and I probably would have a little video about it because like that's not necessarily my taste and thing. I don't like Human Centipede. Like it's fine.
I watched it and I have a good memory about it. I watched it with my friend Jimmy, and so there was parts where it was palatable because we were laughing and joking because it is bizarre.
I told my brother about Human Centipede like 10 years ago, and he had no idea what it was, and he watched the first two back to back. And I was like, "You're disgusting."
Yeah.
He was like, "Those are pretty good." He likes every movie.
Yeah.
Not every movie, but he likes a lot of movies. And so, like, it didn't even faze him. He was like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." And they're so gross.
Yeah. It is.
But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about Barbarian before we cut it off?
I don't think so. We can throw it to a next movie.
Next movie? Have you picked a movie?
I haven't. Are we switching back and forth?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, I will put the tell on it when we decide. Yeah. And yeah.
I meant to actually talk to you about that.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm going to cut this and I'm going to do like next week or whatever. Cause,
promo or something?
Yeah, because what I'm hoping to do is have a few of these in the bank so we're not leaving people behind.
This is a work in progress. We don't have a set. Like, we're going to have some kind of something. We got our logo. We've had our logo since day one.
And we hopefully are going to have more camera angles. Hopefully, we will have them all videotaped and put on YouTube or other streaming sites.
We're going to videotape them, put them on a shelf in the basement, and then have Justin Long watch them and tell us we're pieces of shit.
Yeah. If we had like some sort of line we could call and get a hold of Justin Long, that would be awesome.
So we could watch our videotape.
Yeah. But no, and then when I understand how Patreon works, I think he knows a little more.
I have a Patreon set up. I haven't really messed with it yet.
But we'll probably have more things on there.
We'll have
longer things on there.
Because I'm thinking unedited videos.
Yeah.
I'm thinking skits maybe. Like me and Jake are always fucking around.
Yeah. Because I like to cut things and have things shorter for the other formats to keep your attention, I guess.
We'll keep it maybe not short, like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But like we're gonna cut stuff out.
Because a lot of times when we're talking, it'll be like 4 hours, and stuff will go out.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to do 2 cameras.
We could have done a
it went
deep
out.
dive on Jeepers Creepers right there, but we kind of took it back.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get the Jeepers Creepers.
But we have stickers. We might do more merchandise, but right now we just have stickers.
Right.
So maybe for those people, I don't want to do any promises because I've noticed I've done that before and I don't want to let anybody down.
Once we kind of get rocking and rolling, we'll see what we're doing. And we'll let you guys know. Like, the main thing is probably just longer episodes, like uncut episodes. You want to see us be fucking idiots for like 2-3 hours? Like, we probably have that, And you're like, oh, the fucking, like, episode about the new Barbie movie was like 30 minutes, and then you see the Patreon, it's like 2 hours long.
Because Jake had to sing Barbie Girl in its entirety 3 times.
So, but that will be it from us that will be it from us from You Gotta Be Effing Kidding. Again, I'm Anthony. This is Jake. And we'll see you guys soon. See ya.